Hey everyone, and welcome back to my completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS. And now is the time to pay the rebels a visit. But let me first just quickly arrange some stuff here. We're just going to take these big potions out of Jaheira's potion case, and we don't need quite as many of these normal antidotes. So we're going to leave them here to sell them later. And this is okay. And we're also going to pre-buff a little bit. I'm not going to haste here, I think. I kind of want to keep going for a while without resting. And I think we're going to save haste for a little later, but let's not go in a completely careless fashion. I think we're going to need to remove fear because these Sahuagin leaders have some high-level abilities, and that includes a war cry. And what else can we do? Maybe throw a little... Actually, let's give Anoman some of his personal buffs before we go in. Yeah, we can give him some drop on Holy Might, and probably some chant for the road. And then we're going to be ready. And let's go. Alright, so here's that guy who ran downstairs. And there's also going to be, especially a little bit later, kind of like a ambush situation, where these Sahuagin here on the water can only be reached by ranged weapons. So it's actually... Okay, that guy escaped upstairs again. So let's switch to our ranged weapons. And Senashira is going to go upstairs and take care of that other guy if she can get through here. Alright, and now back to melee weapons, Jaheira. Yeah, here's kind of like a main platform where they have some ranged guys on the water.
What is it now? You're worthless lads! End here!
I await your need. What is it? Oh, I'll show you a fight.
What is it now? With all speed, comrade!
Speed, this will not take long.
I shall go forth at your
Yes,
command.
it must be done. This should be fun.
I think if you have a two-handed weapon, like a two-handed sword, for example, you might be able to reach them when they are super close to the platform. But anyway, here's the door that we needed the Tooth of Sakola to open.
Certainly. Yes.
And this is going to be the inner, the true lair, I guess, of the rebels. And this guy here, of course, recognizes that we have the orb. That means that the most sacred Senitili could have given it to you. Yeah, so take me to this prince of yours then, and see what he has to say.
So it seems the surface creatures we have heard so much about have finally come to see us.
He has a really... it's this guy and one guy a little bit later in the next area that somehow their voice lines are so quiet compared to everything else that's in the game. But anyway, so he greets us pretty reluctantly here, and we can see that the senior priestess here is actually Senitili's daughter, Selinithil. And he already insults us, says that we're ugly, their flesh is so soft and scaleless. But your hideous appearance means little, as does this nonsense about Sakola sending you, as Selinithil and her mother seem to believe so strongly. What matters is that mad Ixilfetokul has sent you surface beings to collect my heart. He is so certain of your success that now is the perfect time to strike. And yeah, their plan is that they have a fake heart prepared that we could take to Ixilfetokul, and then when their guard is down, I guess, they would attack and use the element of surprise, I guess. But we would have to still do most of the fighting anyway. And so of course, as always, feel free to pause and read in detail. Yeah, so of course the plan would result in the madman being dead, and the City of Caverns shall be saved with the return of its exiled blood. Yes, yes, whatever. The throne is what is important here. So, as you can see, Prince Villanati is not much of a good guy himself. So he's just another villain, just, you know, a different leader of a different faction, but not really much better. At least King Ixilthootokul is pretty funny. This guy is just obnoxious. Yeah, assuming that you are capable of intelligent thought, do you agree to this plan, or shall we be forced to engage in simple slaughter? And here Jaheira interjects, this is basically, we will have ourselves a dialogue option asking whether a peaceful solution could be reached. But yeah, you have met Ixilthootokul. What do you think, Haired One? If of course you are capable of coherent thought, no, there can be no peaceful resolution. The king is mad. He does not see reason, and that will be his undoing. Yeah, we can ask about the reward. You get to live, you hideous, finless thing. Is that not enough for you? Yeah, so he kind of vaguely promises some kind of reward. Yeah, that's the conversation option about the peaceful resolution. Yeah, we can ask if we're going to be free. But yeah, we don't trust him, and we are not agreed to his plan. And basically, my plan that I was about to explain when I mentioned it in the previous episode, I guess, here what I like to do most, and actually what is the best from a completionist standpoint, is to actually help the king first. And that's generally what I like doing. I, in most cases, do not help Villanati. I destroy the rebels and then, you know, get a reward from Ixilthootokul, and then I kill the rest of the Sahuagin present here anyway, just to completely ruin this race. Because of course, with King Ixilthootokul, you know, as their ruler, of course, this is going to slowly bring you know, destruction to this race, as he keeps exiling and sacrificing more and more of their good warriors and whatnot, their priestesses, and of course, you know, even though we help King Ixilthootokul, we still are going to murder everyone, even from, you know, the king's forces as well, when we get back. And why I say this is the best from a completionist standpoint is because when you help the king, that is the only way to get a certain pair of gauntlets. And we don't really care about them, because they are monk gauntlets, but that is the only way. You cannot, like, pickpocket these gauntlets from him. When you kill him, he doesn't have those. You have to, you know, help him and bring the true heart of Villanati to him to receive the gauntlets. But anyway, we refuse to take part in your plan, Villanati. You have insulted us way too many times for me to even consider aligning my forces with yours. And of course, we don't want this race to prosper, like we have discussed in the previous episode. But yeah, unfortunately, Salinithil is unkillable, and she appears a little bit later, and she is also unkillable even then. So that's the one survivor that's going to get to live. But yeah, I guess Senashira and Kiranai are going to take care of Villanati himself, and here in here we can quickly have Jaheira and Anamen to kind of take the attention of these other guys, and perhaps we're going to be able to throw in some kind of a party-friendly spell here. Maybe we can use this this chain lightning on Imoen. You have one glitter dust left, but you have two slows, so let's actually throw in a slow with Edwin. And I could also throw a Holy Smite, perhaps, with Anamen. Right, and Senashira and Kiranai already disposed of Villanati. You suck, dude. You call yourself a Sahuagin prince? Right, so some of them got slowed. Yeah, we have our chain lightning. That didn't really chain to too many targets since they are quite spread out, but still. This is not going to be much of a challenge here for us. I love that line by Edwin.
Precisely.
Alright, so of course they have these like minor non-treasures basically. And as you can see, Senatili dies and Firlatius as well. As we will see, they got sacrificed. When we talk to Ixthelthetokul, we'll see what that is about. But anyway, Villinati here had a couple of cool items, and here there's also a passage to the Underdark that we can't really take because it's such a big fall. Anyway, here we have the True Heart of Villinati. You have a Potion of Freedom. Here we have the blade of the Wave Halberd. So now we have all of the components needed. We just need to get back to Athkatla and to Cromwell and to get it. And here, this is an amazing weapon, the Impaler. And this is a spear with 10 bonus piercing damage on it. Like, you know, spears are a pretty good option to go for in Baldur's Gate 2, but the problem with them is a little bit that they are not very well spread out. Like here we can get the Impaler, and not too far from here we can get another cool Spear of Withering +4, excuse me, which is also a really cool spear. And also when it comes to the Impaler, there are some mods like the classic item upgrade mod by Wesley Weimer, and that actually allows you to even upgrade the Impaler and makes a throwing spear out of it. And I remember having a Kensai Druid that made use of that kind of concept, and it was pretty awesome. But anyway, now actually we can just teleport ourselves. We don't have to go all the way back. And as you will see, unfortunately, Senatili, of course, is not here anymore. Alright, and
What is it?
now we can present this heart to King Ixthelthetokul, but before we do so, I am going to, just to be able to open this treasury room, this requires a key that he has. And unfortunately, when he rewards us, we don't get to loot the key. If we presented him the fake heart and killed them here, we would be able to get the key and open this treasury. It doesn't really matter when it comes to treasures, but there's a cool note that I want to show. And basically, in order to obtain this key, what we're going to do is actually pickpocket him. Oh, and Kira and I also leveled up. Well, level 20 already, huh? And I think I'm going to go for these traps now. Also, we got one more proficiency point. We already have Grand Mastery in Scimitars and Daggers. We have one in Quarterstaff. And you know, just for backstabbing with Staff of the Ram, for example, I could go more with 2 Quarterstaff, or perhaps I could go, you know, two-handed weapon style to give it more critical chance. But I think I'm also going to, maybe level up her in some longswords, and I think I'm going to put 1 point in Senashira as well for longsword, just because there are some cool situational longswords like Daystar, for example, and how we are doing things, it might be Kira and I actually wielding Daystar from now on. Maybe not on Senashira actually. Senashira, once she gets Cromfair, she's not really going to be switching weapons much anymore. But I think when it comes to Kira and I think it's worth it to maybe even go 2 points in Longsword just for these Daystar situations. Because there are some pretty significant opponents here and there where Daystar is going to be very, very useful to just directly attack with it. Alright, and with our equipment, wow, our stealth is pretty sweet. But anyway.
This place is just too darn creepy.
We are going to get, I think, 3 potions of Master Thievery. I think if we are fast in here, and we quickly set up a situation in the next area, we will probably be able to do some serious thieving on this 1 stack of potions of Master Thievery. It's not really a big deal, but we can try. And yeah, basically how you choose to do this whole thing will result in you getting the Impaler. Like, for example, if you present the fake heart to the king and you kill them, like, he's going to drop Impaler. The Wave Blade, or the Halberd Blade of the Halberd that is named the Wave, the Wave Blade, is always dropped by Villinati. But there's also a couple of, I think we're going to end up with a couple of copies of a magical rope that is needed to descend into the Underdark once we are done here. But here I don't think I need to drop all this stuff, but I'm just going to quick save just to be sure. Don't freak out, King, when I pickpocket you. Yeah, we could pickpocket quite a few things off of him. Yeah, he has two ropes. Like one he's supposed to, you know, give you as a reward. The other one he just drops when he gets killed. Alright, so here we have some scrolls. And we have that Sahuagin Treasury key. And I wanted to loot it
If it must be done.
to open this treasury. Because there's a scroll of protection from the elements, which is decent. And I think we're going to also end up with 2 of these rods of lordly might. But anyway, here we have these Sahuagin scribes' notes. This scroll seems to be a collection of stories about great wars of the Sahuagin. They mention planned offensives against land dwellers all along the Sword Coast, as well as tales of past offensives. The Sahuagin appear to be a particularly warlike race, constantly planning full-fledged invasions of the shores, but rarely following through due to incessant infighting. The events that you have seen in this particular settlement would seem to bear that out. An interesting insight into Sahuagin culture. And there's nothing to do with that note, just, you know, a cool insight. So I wanted to show that, and I think Edwin is able to identify that. And this rod unfortunately sells only for 1 gold, and all of the things that it can turn into sell only for 1 gold. And these weapons might seem like they're pretty useful because each one of them, we're going to be able to choose which one of these 3 weapons we want to change the rod into. So we can have this like flaming longsword, the mace +2 or the spear +3, and as you can see, each one of these weapons has an on-hit property, like either panic or hold or additional damage. But look at this, like it allows a save for the opponent at a massive bonus, like +6 here and +5 on the other ones. They are just not really useful for that reason, these weapons. But yeah, we're going to use that later. And now we are ready to just talk with the king and get our reward.
You are wondrously strange.
Yeah, so we have the heart of the leader of the rebels. Yeah, so he's obviously overjoyed. Isn't she wonderful, my baron? Yes, most honorable Ixilthocal, a wonderful human. Exactly what I just said. Why are you repeating me? Ah, never mind. The point is, you've earned everything I'm giving you as a reward. And since I received signs from Sakola that you were returning, I had 3 of the guards sacrificed promptly for good measure. And if you present him the fake heart, he has a little bit of a different response. He's still overjoyed and he still talks about the sacrifices, but it's a little different. Yeah, so how about we get back to the surface? Well, it's apparently, and unfortunately, it turns out that it's not going to be so easy. And we're going to get transported automatically.
Well then, here you go, my fortunate favored.
Yeah, the entrance to the Underdark. It goes a fair ways down, but it reaches the surface once again. We could take you straight up, of course, but that would only bring you to the middle of the ocean, with none of your surfacer ships that you so depend on. So this is the only way back to your home. You seem to be in good with Sakola, so you should do well against the drow and illithids and such. Before you go, I offer you a few surfacer trinkets from my treasury as payment for your assistance. Here we go. Farewell, my little human. And unfortunately he goes away, and then Selenithil, or whatever her name was, is going to appear. Yeah, so we heard the rebel prince. Senetili, my mother, was a fool. You are not the ones who was prophesied to save us. Indeed, you have destroyed us. The prince and the exiles were our last chance to keep our bloodline strong. You have sent us to a slow, rotting death, human. We shall grow weak and wither under the rule of our mad king. I hope you are pleased with your treasure, and I pray that the damnable illithids feast upon your brain slowly. May Sakola find you in the dark part of the ocean. So I would kill her for that, but unfortunately she is unkillable. And also we are going to go back quickly to the royal throne room. I've still have some stuff that I left there. We don't need the key anymore, and yeah, we have even more ropes. We just need 1. So this one we can drop. Here's another rod of lordly might, and also we got these gauntlets of crushing. They are essential if you have a monk. +4 thaco and damage when you're attacking with the fists. A very good piece of equipment for any monk. But well, we're not going to have any use for them. But yeah, here's the passage to the Underdark, but like I said, we are not finished with the Sahuagin yet. Let's go back to their encampment. Of course, we got some experience. Oh, and also one finishing thought about the prophecy. Well, it really depends how you interpret it, right? Because it said something about surface dwellers standing between the City of Caverns and destruction. And basically, you know, you could look at it in different ways. That these surfaces would save the City of Caverns from destruction, or maybe they would be the bringers of destruction. So maybe you shouldn't have thought about us as saviors, but as the ultimate threat you needed to get rid of. Little sharky beasts. And also, you know, it also depends what faction, I guess, looks at the prophecy. Because in the mind of the king, well, we have saved the City of Caverns. We got rid of the rebel faction. Anyway, I think we can trade with you for a moment. Oh, this one... Yeah, there's two different rods of Lord Lemite. This one actually sells well, so we're going to sell this one. And just showcase how this one... I think this one is bugged. It should have a number 1 here. So let's try to create the sword, for example. Right, here it is. So it worked fine. So yeah, we have this sword that is also going to sell for 1 gold. And we don't need to buy anything from you. We can just sell you this stuff. And I think we'll be on our way. So farewell, Sahuagin. It was nice knowing you.
What is it? Certainly. Speak without doubt.
Right, there's going to be quite a few less of them, as we were informed by the king. He sacrificed quite a few guards here, but we're still going to be able to slay the Baron, Thelocassil, and some royal guards here. They have stunning bolts, so I'm going to keep some of our party members a little bit further away. Do you have still... Yeah. We have buffs, so let's keep Imoen a little bit in the back, and just attack the remaining Sahuagin here. What do you think of me now, huh? Not so soft and scaleless. Also, they can poison. Let's just give Senashira the normal antidote here. We don't need to use the fancy elixirs of health. Not so scaleless now, huh? And these royal guards are pretty tough. We can actually add some range damage now. Right. Yeah, they are pretty tough. They are pretty tough.
Yes, it will be done. What is it? Sir B.
Alright, but not too big of a deal. They don't drop anything too good. And now Kirnai needs to pick up her stuff back. Alright, and now she still has her Potion of Master Thievery active. Let me just double check if there's anyone left over here. But I think these guys that had some words of caution, yeah, they're going to be gone. And I think that's all of the Sahuagin that were present in the City of Caverns. So we have totally exterminated the race. I guess, you know, some of them retreated, like the king is nowhere to be found. Unfortunately, we couldn't kill him. But maybe that's for the better, because, you know, he is going to lead the remaining Sahuagin into slow destruction. So we also got a lot of experience. So let's level up our characters here. Level 16 for Senashira. That means level 8 spells and also some pretty cool boosts when it comes to saving throws. So this is going to be cool, man. Level 8. Here there's some notable spells for a character like Senashira, but I think Simulacrum, it's going to be, I think, a little too powerful maybe to keep memorizing that already. But this one is different from Project Image, for example, in the fact that this is just a copy that can act in any way as the original caster can. So it can make attacks, which doesn't really matter that much for like pure caster like Edwin, but for someone like Senashira, this is going to be really good. They are like level drained, unfortunately, and that's how you could That's how it worked in classic Baldur's Gate 2, is that when you created a simulacrum, you could actually cast a restoration spell on it, because that was basically a perfect clone of the caster, but with a level drain applied to it. And you could actually cure that level drain by casting a restoration spell, but it was changed in the Enhanced Edition, so you cannot boost their level. It doesn't really matter for spells, because spells once lost, they are lost anyway, but you could basically have like higher maximum hit points, saving throws, you know, Thaco, that kind of stuff. But anyway, this is a really good thing. This is a really powerful spell that will allow us to, you know, create copies of our characters. But here, maybe Improved Mantle, I will, just to continue kind of the theme of self-buffs for Senashira, and like I said, Simulacrum is so powerful that I think I'm going to hold off a little bit on it. We're also going to use our spell sequencer soon, so let's memorize one to set it up again later. And here, maybe more of these will perhaps change it later. So Jaheira leveled up in Fighter. It's going to take still a long time before she reaches level 14 in Druid, and even a longer time before she gets level 15 in Druid, which is the major level up when it comes to Druids. But yeah, she gets some improvements, and level 20 for Animan as well. So he gets some more spell slots, and we're going to... Now that he has 2 points in Flail, we're going to start leveling up his dual wielding, his 2-weapon style. So in a couple of levels, he's going to be able... I think it's 6 levels for Cleric. I would have to double check that. How can I be forgetting such basic like information? But anyway, in a couple of levels, he's going to be able to kind of dual wield Flail of Ages and Defender of East Haven, and that's going to be pretty cool. But anyway, after all this talking... Not yet, because we still have the bonus spells he got. Okay, now we might memorize one Righteous Magic, and here at level 6, maybe give him something like Bolt of Glory. I really hated the long cast time on it. If it was like cast time of 4 or something, I would make use of this more often. But well, for a little bit of variety, we could give him a heal, which would be, I guess, more useful, but let's kind of give him some cleric spells. We might get to use some of them. But anyway, after all this talking, let's finally proceed to the next chapter. Yay!
Things go well on the surface. The temple of their false god has been defiled.
I am pleased. My revenge will soon come.
We did not act for your benefit, Irenicus, though you did offer some interesting opportunities.
Yes, Matron Mother. Excuse my careless words.
Our first prisoners arrive, Matron Mother.
These two rank high among the surface scum, Matron. What is to be their fate?
Their presence sickens me. Kill them.
Perhaps it would be better to interrogate them first.
Journalist, what are you doing with these monsters? You are one of...
An odd way to question, Irenicus. Did you not like his tone?
I reconsidered, Matron. Your command was the wiser.
The great depths of the Underdark stretch before you, and as you adjust to the dim light, the reality of where you are begins to sink in. It is a realm of countless legends, where evil lurks behind each shadow. And though you have traveled far in pursuit of Irenicus, never have you felt so isolated. As black as your situation may have seemed, it somehow grows darker still.
Alright, so here we are in Chapter 5, and in the famous, or infamous, legendary Underdark, which is basically a whole another world far beneath the surface, and that is home to many evil races, such as the Drow, or the Illithid, and the Duergar, the Dark Dwarves, and also not so evil races, like the Deep Gnomes live in the Underdark, the Zwerfneblin, But yeah, I think this is going to be something that's better started off properly in the next episode. So finally we are done with the Sahuagin adventure, and all of that was, if we took the portal from Spellhold, we would arrive directly here in the Underdark. But since we went with Saemon Havarian, we had this whole additional adventure that we could take part in, and now we landed here anyway. So I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one for some Underdark fun.